Hermitcraft Season 9 basically just ended, and this title poses a question many avid Hermitcraft fans are probably asking themselves at the moment. But is there a way to know or at least make an educated guess? And besides that, what is known or can be assumed about other questions, like how long will Season 10 last, who will partake in it and will there be any new members, and most importantly, will there be a Dotriacontachopper to follow up the Disctrict? These and many more questions will be answered in this video. Hermitcraft Season 9 started on the 5th of March 2022 and will officially end a whole 21 months and 15 days later on the 20th of December, which is the day the server will shut down, with the first members already having uploaded their official last video of the season. This makes it the longest season of Hermitcraft ever, exceeding the previous record holder Season 6 by almost 2.5 months. But how long will Season 10 be? This question could be answered purely mathematically. If we take the length of all the previous seasons and calculate the average amount of time one of them takes, we get 464 days or just over 15 months. And I think in this case that might be very close to the truth, since it's probably unlikely for them to want to outdo Season 9 in its length once again, because views and therefore also revenue are a lot higher at the start of a season, and the longer the season, the less of it is taken up by its start. But they also definitely don't want to repeat a season like Season 8, considering that quite a few of them have stated that it was their least favorite season to date, and that it was generally quite stressful to operate under such a tight time limit. In my opinion, one of the most entertaining things about this season was the start, where everyone built their starter base in the same area, creating plenty of opportunity for collaboration, competition and all sorts of shenanigans. Therefore, my guess is that they'll start Season 10 with a similar approach of everyone being in one big village with each other. However, one downside of this is the fact that for my taste, some of the spawn area looked a little bit too chaotic and inconsistent, due to the many different builds from many different hermits with many different styles that were placed around in a manner that looks a lot more random and nonsensical than logical. So what I'm hoping for Season 10 is that for the starter area, they'll return to the idea of several districts with different themes that used to be a thing in Season 6, which would make the whole area look a bit more logically planned and like one big project, while preserving the collaborative nature of dozens of different projects in one area. But now to the most pressing question of all. When will Season 10 start? Once again, this can be calculated if we take the average amount of days that pass between the end of one season and the start of another one, and that would give a result of 16 days, which would mean that the first episodes of Season 10 would be uploaded on the 5th of January. This isn't a very helpful statistical result though, as the break from Season 8 to 9 takes up about 50% of it, distorting the overall statistic quite significantly. Now you could use the median instead of the average, which turns out to be 9 days, setting the date for the next season start on the 29th of December, but it's probably more accurate to guess the answer to this question based on past statements by hermits and common sense. In his last Season 9 video, Mumbo said that there would be a Season 10 next year, which confirms that most hermits, understandably, don't want to start Season 10 in the midst or even before the holiday season, but would rather spend that time together with their families or friends. My guess would be that the majority of members will want to take the time from Christmas to New Year, as well as the following week off, so if they finalize all the plans and preparations for Season 10 in the week after that, I'm estimating that they should be able to start recording episode 1s by the 15th of January, which I'm gonna guess they'll agree to not upload before the next weekend. So, I think the first episode of Season 10 will be released on Saturday, the 20th of January. Season 9 also had quite a few innovations compared to the previous seasons, but which of these are likely to stay for the next and potentially even the season after that, which of them will probably have been Season 9 one-offs, and which of the things from older seasons that were discontinued this time might actually return. I think the easiest one of these types of questions to answer is probably about the central shopping district, because while that one wasn't quite as big of a deal as it had been in the seasons prior for some of the hermits, I feel like most people still clearly preferred it over the Season 8 system of decentralized shopping, and I'd be very surprised if anyone wanted to bring that back instead of continuing to have one central shopping district. I'm personally also still a fan of the Season 7 shopping district concept, where everyone had to pay for the amount of land they used up and all the shops were on one big mycelium island. But to be honest, it's probably unlikely for them to reuse the exact same idea for the next season. I'd enjoy it though. One completely new thing about Season 9 was that neither the viewers nor the hermits themselves knew the seed they were playing on, but instead a third party selected it for them. This increased the feeling of adventurousness in some of the hermits episodes without causing real problems. I mean, if it wasn't for this fact, we wouldn't even have gotten Mumbo's awesome slime farm. Not to mention the completely new way of building slime farms that it resulted in. So I am definitely all for continuing this the way it was for all following seasons. And I'm positive that they'll actually do that. What about something specific to one hermit? Will there be another epic Ren storyline? Seeing as he's incorporated those into his episodes consistently with high quality since Season 7, there probably will be. And I honestly couldn't be looking forward to his story more. But will his next storyline include a Dotriacontachopper? Unfortunately, the answer to that is most likely no. Because Ren has already said in the past that the Hexadecachopper was less efficient than the Octochopper, and that at some point, scaling his tree farm up just isn't worth it anymore. But I'm sure he'll still build some other innovative farm over the course of Season 10. Maybe he'll even take a completely new approach to tree farming. Who knows? Contrary to my opinion on the Dotriacontachopper, I expect there'll be another installment of Grian's tag franchise, and I think that will be lots of fun to watch, as always. Additionally, I kind of think that Mumbo is gonna go back to having a big industrial district. In Season 5, his base basically was the industrial district, and in Season 6 and 7 he had an area just for farms, which he seemed to greatly enjoy working on and developing. He kinda stopped doing that in Season 8 and attempted minimizing the area that it takes up in Season 9, which never really went anywhere. So I think as he's enjoying to just do whatever he feels like more and more, he'll find back to the joy of working on an industrial district. And I loved watching the episodes he spent working on it in prior seasons, so I'd be really hyped if this prediction came true. But certainly not least for these particular types of questions, will Tango build a decked out free? To be perfectly honest, I'm not that much of a Tango fan, but I'd guess that he won't attempt to top the magnum opus of his that was decked out too, since it already took him 1.5 years to build, while he did very few other things. So if he does want to build another minigame or something similar, I suspect he's probably come up with plenty of other concepts besides decked out. Or he might not want to do that at all, because maybe next season he'll want to build his own megabase. Regardless of that, I just don't see how one person could improve upon decked out in the time of just one season, which is why I think Tango will probably be doing something different next season. But more importantly, who'll be participating in Season 10? First of all, Mumbo and Iskal, who weren't there for a big chunk of Season 9, will probably be a lot more active in Season 10. But will there be new members in the next season? There weren't any for Season 9, presumably because Season 8 was just too stressful and short for anyone to worry about inviting a new member. But Season 9 was the longest one so far, and they had a big collaboration with the whole Empire's SMP, so I think it's very likely that one of the members from that server collaborated enough with a hermit to get him invited to the server. But who could that be? I think two things are necessary for someone to be it. He must have had lots of interactions with the hermits, and he must actually have enough time to dedicate to the server. Additionally, they do of course have to be family friendly. So while Pixel Riffs might be the first person to come to mind when thinking about Hermitcraft related Empire's SMP members, looking at all the different series he's got going on, I'd guess that he just doesn't have quite enough time he could dedicate to Hermitcraft without cutting back on many other things. The list of people that fit all the requirements and whose video style would fit into Hermitcraft contains Scott, LD Shadow Lady, and Solidarity. And I see a good chance that any of those people might join the server for Season 10. Of course, when talking about this, I also can't forget about Logical Geek Boy, who is perhaps the one popular Minecraft YouTuber who's expressed how keen he is on joining Hermitcraft the most. So who knows, maybe he'll join in for Season 10. Another guess I have for next season, which is completely unrelated to anything else I've said so far, is that while I think they'll continue to make a bunch of fun community events, they might reduce the scale of them. Because while all these giant things like the Empire's crossover or the whole King saga was undoubtedly tons of fun, some people with particularly ambitious bases like Scar or Doc weren't able to finish them in time, partly due to their heavy involvement in these different community events. And while I'm at it, talking about the Empire's crossover and other big things on the server, let me take a trip down memory lane and reminisce about some of the awesome things that took place this season, like the prank war between the Buttercups and the Perimeter, the Diamond Pillar Wars, and the Anvil Wars between Doc and Etho. The awesome first few episodes in the Great Spawn area with everyone's starter houses. Ren's amazing storyline from the Gigapod to him becoming king to the whole server task thing to his eventual downfall. The enjoyment everyone got out of Total Chaos, TCG, and Decked Out 2. the dedication involved in creating the nether hub for the whole community, Scarland to realize Scar's vision, and the perimeter with all the crazy technology. The hilarity that were the April Fool's event and the covering of the perimeter, and the insanity that were the Empire's crossover event, including the return of beloved Grumbot and the charity event organized by Scar, which raised over $400,000. I also want to mention the craziest ones out of all the crazy hermits, who accomplished such ridiculous feats that they deserve an award for it, including Seth for being the most creative with all his advancements, Ren for being the most engaging with his incredible storyline and editing, Vintage Beef for being the most dedicated for building all of TCG, Tango for being the most impressive for building Decked Out 2, Doc for being the hardest working with the giant perimeter, as well as all the other game-breaking exploits he showed off this season, Scar for being the most inspiring as he walked us through his vision of a perfect amusement park in Minecraft, and of course, most importantly, Mumbo for being the most efficient entrepreneur by becoming the richest hermit on the server without doing a single thing for it. Also, if any hermit watches this, I'd love to see all of your statistics at the end of this season. So I'd greatly appreciate any hermit who decides to show his final stats in a future video or share it in a community post. And lastly, I gotta admit that despite all the waffling about Hermitcraft I've done over the past minutes, for reasons inexplicable to myself, I actually didn't really watch any Hermitcraft over the last few months of Season 9. But to stop this from happening again in Season 10, I'll watch every episode from every hermit in Season 10 and write down everything so that at the end of it I can make an hours-long Hermitcraft Season 10 full recap. So if you don't wanna miss that or any potential smaller videos I might release as monthly recaps before then, make sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and watch the video on my left, which is a playlist containing all the videos about building my own mega base I made on Superflat SMP. My own SMP inspired by Hermitcraft, but on Superflat Survivor.